Twitter. It's at 1MCToll. So if you tweet at us, you might be liable to get a mug with the One Woman Cups logo, just saying. So without further ado, I want to introduce Dixie Agostino. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
So fantastic. She is the CEO and founder of Switchgear Recruiting, a local company. I don't want to steal too much of her thunder. She's won a lot of awards. She comes out of the forge. She's a very dynamic speaker. Just say hello to Dixie. Welcome her.
Now I have to deliver it. Hang on one second. Okay, so my company is Switchgear Search and Recruiting, and we won some great awards. But I'm going to kind of tell you, I think the format for this one's going to be a little different. I'm going to tell you what we've messed up, so that hopefully it transmits some value to you guys, and you can avoid the same mistakes that I've made in the past. I got super lucky in that I had 3 really crappy jobs back to back, and I don't mean to say that they were crappy, I actually loved them, but I worked for companies where I did not feel valued or respected. I worked for companies where kind of like anyone can sit in that chair and do that job. And one day I was having breakfast with my husband and talking about it, and he said, well, I think that you can do something different. And so we created Switchgear Search and Recruiting to put people in the places where they come alive, where they can feel like they contribute, they build, they in return are appreciated. And that's kind of been our mission ever since. The difference in what we do, so the typical recruiting model is that you'll call a staffing agency and they'll interview a bunch of people that they found on CareerBuilder or Monster or Indeed, and they'll pick some that are reasonably successful, can be reasonably successful in the job and don't suck, and they'll send those people to you. Our model is completely different. We believe that there is, so the former model is a surplus of talent model. That means there's tons of people coming to you, and we explain this to our clients as well. There's tons of people coming to you, so all we do is weed out the crappy ones and hire the best of the ones that are left standing. So we're really interested in what they've done in the past, what they get on day one, what they do throughout their first year, and we'll talk about the future later. It's not important. What we do is look for the top 20% of talent, and those are the people who are very, very scarce. We're looking for rare skill sets, high drive, motivation, and an achiever profile. So what we're looking specifically for is for people who want to become something, who want to build something in their company and build something within themselves. So they're very concerned, first off, with what they can become in the future and what they do on year one. So we're talking to our clients about this as well, saying, hey, what do you need this person to do? Because the very last thing of importance is what they've done in the past. We're looking for a pattern of success, but we've seen skills transmit across industries, across job descriptions. Achievers succeed no matter what. So we have a process put in place to make sure that that happens. So I'm assuming I've gone through 2 minutes of my 4. We were formed in October, and we launched in the Forge in January, which was basically me sitting at it was a desk that was actually a door on sawhorses, and I had a little penny jar, and I had to get 20 connects a day, and I couldn't get up until I got my 20 connects, so I'd really need to go to the bathroom, but I had to stay on the phone and stay motivated so that I could get my stuff done. So every day, coming to work in a suit, and I'm the only one in the room. Eventually, we were able to hire, and we grew actually that year quite a bit. Our second year, we had 4, and we tripled in size in revenue, not just in staff. But in 2013, we made our first hiring mistake. and then I did it all over again. So we have a very specific process put in place for the candidates that we deliver to our clients. And we have a specific process put in place for the way that we understand the needs of our clients. We take them through, it's almost an hour-and-a-half long process so that we both have a lot of clarity in what we want, and they understand the results and not necessarily I want a clone of me. They need to have X years of experience. They need to have a degree of microphysicism and work for $20 an hour or for free. They have really genuine understanding of what they need to get in this position. So I hired someone with 15 years of experience in our industry, but he wasn't a culture fit. And so while this person doubled our staff size, our revenue only increased by 26%. So our money making went down substantially. And this person didn't feel like they were part of the group, so they pulled back and they didn't deliver what they fully could have. And eventually, after a year, we decided to part ways. So it came back to me, and I opened our Oklahoma City and Houston offices, and I was in this really teenage growth mode. It'll never happen to me, nothing bad will go wrong, we'll just keep making money. And I got overwhelmed. We had a staff of 15, and I couldn't manage everything. I was still involved in almost every decision that happened, almost every placement that happened, clients, and I got exhausted. So I hired someone who was also an industry veteran from a competing firm, and this time, while they were a culture fit, they were not a drive fit. And while they had been successful in a highly structured environment, in our startup idea, we want to constantly make it better. The rules are infinitely bendable, and so it was very challenging for that person to be successful. Every single person both of my hiring decisions hired has left our company, and most of them left with a really bad taste in their mouth. And it's my fault for not using our process and putting that in place. So this year's hiring mistake has cost me $140,000 in paid out salaries for people that underperformed or literally did not perform at all. And it hurt a lot. So we got, hey, you did this Inc. 500 thing, only to come back and realize we haven't made any money this year. So I'm hoping that you guys learn from this and don't make these same mistakes. So where we are now is I've got a team that loves to be here, that delivers, and these people do triple the results of my previous team. And what's next for us is we're really going through that patch of we're becoming an adult. We're no longer doing whatever. We're targeted in our niche. We're experts at what we do. And we've implemented this book called Who. Our number one problem is people, and it's the number one problem in the most companies that I talk to. And I would highly recommend this to anybody who has people at all, any employees. This process is not rocket science, and it will save you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, had we not made these hiring mistakes and kept on pace with our growth, we would have been $2 million ahead of where we are now. So, questions?
All right, so if you have a question, raise your hands and get our attention so we can get you on the mic so it'll pick up on the video. Questions, who's ready? Who's got a question?
All right, question over here.
So I think culture is huge. What is your company culture like? And now it seems like you have a pretty solid team in place. What are the things that your team is excited about for Switchgear now?
So with the mistake that we made this year, it was a difference of vision. And so we wanted a fun culture. We wanted people to work together, but we were misaligned when it came to continuous improvement. It's very important to me that people continue to set goals that are a stretch and try to achieve them. You may not always hit them, but at least try to be better. We do a lot of continuous improvement training. We do books that we read. We read Oren Klaff's Pitch Anything. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. So these are what our staff reads. This team we have now loves it. They love the fact that we do training. I mean, we do training twice a week. So they spend an hour and a half every week in training. We get together once a quarter on these books. We're constantly talking about, okay, this happened, how can we do it better? The previous team was like, this is a waste of time. And that was really where I realized we had made dramatic problems in hiring someone who didn't have the same attention to continuous improvement that I did, and they hired people that was very similar to them. Did that answer the question?
Okay, another question here in the front.
So when things were tough and you made the big mistakes, what type of mentoring did you go after? And what is your stories about how you found your mentors and how have they shaped you as a business owner and going forward?
There was one day I could not get out of bed because I was so upset, and it happens. So I went and drove to Austin. As soon as I went through the financials, I saw what was happening. Drove to Austin. I had a friend, her business is about $13 million, ours is $2 million, and she walked me through our financials, what's going on, and she said, you need to fire people, you need to fire 4 people. You've done the same results with half the staff, you need to let half your staff go. And on the way back up from Austin, because I was like, no, I love them, I can't. On the way back, I quit loving them. Like, not in a mean way, but in a, hey, this is the reality, this is the facts, and I have to save the company for the people that perform. Then I reached out to another one of my friends. She has a $20 million personal injury law firm, which is actually a really similar business model to us because we work contingently. Our clients pay our bills and they only pay us if we produce the right person. So we have to win in order to get paid. So she came up and she walked us through the top grading process, which this book is about. Top grading is actually a very thick, lengthy, boring book, but the Sun revised it, and the result is the Who book, which is much easier to read. She walked us through the forms, the process. We're in the middle of top grading all our staff. We've top graded every single candidate that's come in for us internally, and it's made all the difference. Because quite honestly, if you do not want to sit and talk to someone for 3.5 hours, which is what we now do for our internal process, you're not going to want to work with them. So it's weeded out real quick. And plus, if you're not interested in us, you're not going to make it through 3.5 hour long interview with us. So it's only the people that really want to go. So those two people have made the single biggest difference. And then I put a board of advisors in place immediately, actually, to pay them. So now I have accountability. I have to go every quarter and show financials and basically feel like I'm standing in my underwear in front of a group of industry professionals and explain to them why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. So I can't just do what I think is best. I have to make sure it's best for the company.
Okay, I have a question over here.
Hey Dixie, thanks, great presentation.
Hi, Tom.
Other than obviously the culture and the people side of the equation, what other challenges for scaling did you encounter as Switchgear Group?
The biggest problem is that we had previously hired for individual talent, intuition, ability to make a match, and that's lovely, but that's not a scalable business model. I mean, yes, we still hire for those traits, but there needs to be safeguards put in place, extra processes and procedures to make sure that we're not just going off of gut, because sometimes that's, so we put those things in place, we put processes and procedures in place, and really built the process to be able to take it to Oklahoma City. So we closed our Oklahoma City and Houston offices in March, and we would like to reopen Oklahoma City, but we don't want to clone the same problem, so we got to fix it, make sure that it works, and we'll open Oklahoma City in 2017.
Okay, a question here in the middle.
Wanted to add something with David asked about culture, and you guys saw a picture of everybody standing on a rooftop. To give you an idea about the culture, I think right before that, and this was only 2 weeks ago, they had a snowball fight on the roof. To just give you an idea of the difference and the intensity of the culture. And also you talked about mentors. It's not just passive, it is an all-consuming, completely obsessive passion with getting better. The constant reading of books, the traveling around the world to find anybody who knows anything that will make us better at what we're doing. This is not passive, this is completely all-consuming. Because there was 2 questions there, one about culture and one about what have you done for mentors. This is not just, hey, I bumped into somebody. This is just all in 100%, completely obsessed.
One of the mentors that I selected, the gentleman that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, he's actually the person that coached Robert Kiyosaki. So he's expensive, but I don't know what I didn't know, and it's been a super expensive lesson, and he doesn't cost me the $140,000 I already lost, so I figure it's worth it.
Okay, a question back here.
It sounds like your previous mistakes were related to your vision. What is your vision?
My vision is to build a process where people can come to people that are great at what they do, and maybe they are like at 80% happiness in their job, and they can find that 90 or 95 or that place that makes them really come alive. We spend half of our waking life at work, and I think that we should love it. I love it. I mean, I work all the time. It's who I am, and I get to express that, and I think that there's a place for that for everybody. And for some of us, it's starting our own business, but for other people, they want to build something, or they want to give back, or they want to make a difference in some way. And we just want to help facilitate that. And there's so many companies that need these driven, strong, amazing people, but they're hidden. I mean, I worked for 8 years for a company where, you know, they knew I did a good job, but, you know, if I quit, they were like, meh. Then I quit and they had to replace me with 3 people, and then they quit being meh. So I think that those people exist, and it's our job to find them.
Can you go back a little bit, over here, sorry. Can you go back a little bit further? I love seeing the journey that you've been on, but go back to when you had a full-time job, and the decision to, and the process you went through to take this big step. Because I think that's where maybe, you know, a lot of us in this room are, is we're at that place where we're trying to make that day job to dream job step.
So I think I was a lot lucky. I had started buying rental property when I was 20. I've been really frugal and didn't have very many expenses. So I had a year's worth of living expenses in the bank. And so I decided, the Forge was super cheap. I think it was $325 a month for everything, phone, internet. I mean, oh my God. Training, going through fast track classes, being a chamber member, being able to sit next to 4 other people that were in the same boat that I was, but several of them were 5 years into their business, so total great, amazing mentors. So I had the money, I had the place, and I set the goal, if I didn't cover my expenses within 6 months, I was out. And so the end of the 5th month, like, I finally made a sale. And so we just kept going. But I definitely set a deadline.
All right, question here in the front.
So I love the vision. I love the stretch goal. Actually, my wife and I have just reached a huge stretch goal and applied at one of the hardest places to work in America, Zappos. So how long is your hiring process now to make sure that you're getting the right people on the right bus, you don't make hiring mistake number 3?
So our previous internal process was, you visit with me, I'm your recruiter. Then you go to a 1-hour interview that's structured with your boss. And then you go to a 1-hour structured panel interview, specifically geared, it's you on one side and it's 5 people on the other side of the table. If you can't handle the pressure, you can't work here. They ask you questions for 45 minutes. For 15 minutes, you ask questions back. That would have been fine. However, on both of these people, I subverted the process. Now we've changed it because if I'm the recruiter, I want to make the placement, so I will hire people and they may not be a fit. I'm not fully vetting them because I'm biased. So now I'll explain the job to somebody and all the metrics and the pressure, and here's the stuff that sucks and here's the stuff that's awesome. And if they're interested, they go through a 30-minute phone screen with our controller who has a recruiting background, and she's looking for very specific things. At that point, if they pass, and she's willing to pass somebody on to someone to sit with us for 3.5 to 4 hours in a structured top grading interview where we go through their entire college, every single job, grad school. We're asking the exact same questions. We're asking 15 questions for every place they've been, and it can take more than 4 hours. So at that point, you really know them. And we're ready to make an offer, or we bring them back in, usually for a day in the life. Come in for an hour, we'll walk you through the office, here's where everything is, here's what we do, here's what the day is like, here's what your job looks like, do you want to do it or not? So now I have followed the rules.
Okay, we have time for about 2 more questions. Over here.
Another question here at the front.
So if you go back, I think it was the second slide, you were talking about the hiring process. Yes, that one. And so the have, get, do, become. On the become part, and you said you think that there's potential for a highly successful person to succeed anywhere. And I have an MBA, and I've seen so many case studies of companies that don't let their employees succeed. as you've grown and as you've been able to grow your company, have you found that there's customers that potentially come to you that you say you're not a good fit for our people? And do you weed out your customer? Are you able and have the luxury of weeding out your customers so you know that whoever you place there, even if they're a good candidate, would not succeed in those environments?
So there's some environments that are very similar to ours. They're achievement driven, they're growth oriented. Those companies we work really well with because they're very similar to us. We have other clients that are super structured, conservative, and risk averse, and we can still deliver because we know exactly what they want. There's other companies that want to only use the lowest bidder cost, and if you only want to hire the cheapest people and the cheapest vendors, you're going to get the cheapest results. So those don't work for us. My favorite client has been really open to the process. It's a $40 million manufacturing company that tripled in size in 3 years, or doubled in size in 3 years. And so they said, hey, we need a technical sales rep. And they wanted an engineer. And we asked them why. And they said, well, I think they're going to need to do calculations. Are they going to? Do they have to? No, the engineering department's right there. They don't. They just need to have mechanical mindset. Okay, great. So we boiled it down to what they really needed. And we found them a person that on paper they would have never considered. And they met them. The person passed a Wonderlic test with flying colors, incredibly intelligent. They passed a zero risk profile. They fit the company culture. They passed we vetted them thoroughly, especially because they were so off on paper. That person, so for success in that company, you bring on 1 to 2 new accounts a year. This person brings 12 a year, and they had to expedite the plans to move it to a new facility. They had to fast forward a year because she brought in so much she brought in so much customized business. She overloaded the plant. So I would call that success, and they're very happy. She's happy. She got double the pay, gets them 6 times the results that they would expect for the pay. It's a total win all around.
A question right back here in the middle.
For your own hiring decisions, it seems like you're looking for someone with really entrepreneurial skills. How do you keep from training your competition?
We do. We've had 3 people go out on their own, 4 people go out on their own. The thing is, though, they don't take the process and they don't take the team. So with our company, 75% of your results will come from your teamwork and only 25% to you. So while these people go out, they're getting 25% of the results, which is fine for them because they don't have any overhead. But if they were really a team fit, they would stay because they know they can build something, they can make money, they can love their job. Being by yourself is really, really, really challenging. So it's just usually it lasts about a year and a half, and we'll see. But honestly, our business is contingent. We do have some retained clients, but most of the time it's just whoever's the first person to the best candidate wins. And if we're not the best, then someone else is. So it's competition, but we're not scared of it.
All right, we have a question right here.
Yes.
Speaking of finding the candidate, can you, without giving away the secret sauce, walk us through how you find these top-level candidates who are dissatisfied with their positions?
That would be the secret sauce. I can tell you how to vet them, which is reading the Who book, and there's another one called Hire With Your Head by Lou Adler. Lou Adler has the achiever profile that we look for when we're hiring internally. That's the entrepreneurial mindset, the pattern of give me a project, I'll volunteer for a tough project, even though it's uncomfortable, and I guarantee you I'll get it done. I'll get it done no matter what. So. But usually it's deep web searching, phone sourcing, it's alternative methods. We don't use job boards, so because that's the pond everybody else is fishing in. Why go for the red water? Go for the blue water? I don't know.
So our final question, what can we do, 1 million cups, what can we do for you in Switchgear?
This helps me stay focused, and I'm happy to help if you guys. So I've gotten great mentors. I'm happy to pass that information on. Hiring is my biggest need right now. In order to hit our growth goal, I need to bring on 3 new people. So if you know people that you think would like the job I've described, please feel free to send them my way. It's not an easy job, but it's a really fun job.
Thank you so much.